Hey guys, I figured I would start this video by showing some of my wife's beautiful art pieces. They're scattered all throughout our home, and I love that they're here. I have been seeing a bunch of videos, things I wish I knew before I started paganism, or things I wish I knew before starting witchcraft. This is going to be a similar video, but it's going to be things to consider. There will be several different things I'm going to bring up here. The first one is, even before you become spiritually aware, don't discount your spiritual experiences you have before deciding to dip your toes into the path of paganism or witchcraft. Anytime where you feel a connection to the nature around you or some type of divine energetic current, it's a mystical experience. It's a beautiful experience. We have all had those throughout our lives, even before we started walking down the occult paths. We experience so many different things in our lives before we even become truly spiritually aware. It could be in the middle of a vast forest and you just feel connected to the trees, the plants, and the animals around you. That's a beautiful moment, and not many of us think about it. And instead, we always jump to our first interactions with deity or a guide spirit or something like that. But honestly, most divine or mystical experiences happen with just an encounter in nature. I'll never forget being out on a hike with some friends, and we walk around the corner. There's a feeder or bat house in the middle of a pond. Don't know which, but there was just this large owl, and they were watching us as we walked. They hooted, kind of in curiosity, I guess. I don't know. And then one of my family friends hooted back. The owl replied before taking off and flying right over our heads into the trees. That was a stunningly beautiful experience, and one that I recognized at the time. But a lot of us will have experiences like that and push them to the side because it wasn't their God or their guide or even their ancestors. But it was important, it was beautiful, it was worth remembering and worth noting somewhere. The next thing is there are a lot of books, a lot of YouTubers and social media people that are practicing witches and pagans now. But nothing that they say is stone cold truth. As part of our practices, we need to learn to pick what works for us and what doesn't. There are things written in books that are looked up as like gold standard texts for beginning witches that I don't really like. I get yelled at quite often when people ask for what books they should look at before, as they start their path. And I recommend not starting with Cunningham. There are so many better books out there. So many books with more accurate information. Just because we started with something doesn't mean it's good now. When things change and research deepens. Cunningham was great for his time, but now 30 years or nearly 30 years after he's passing, everything has evolved. Knowledge has gotten so much deeper. Another thing is learning to sit with yourself. When you're running around, caught up in the hustle and bustle, or even trying to get all of these different things together for a ritual and stressing yourself out, you could do the ritual and get nothing from it. Sometimes we need to just slow down, maybe stop, and just sit there. Be open to an experience and go into a meditation or just be for a few minutes and connect to what is around you. You may end up going on a journey or experiencing something, but even in nature, not everything is constant go, 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 go. The most often moving thing in nature is the tides, and even they slacken every day. And there's what they call a slack tide, where it's just dead, where it's glass in the oceans. So don't get overwhelmed needing to get the stuff to do the thing. Sometimes doing the thing without an item or two is good enough, or more than good enough. Which leads me to something else. We don't need the fancy wands or the athames or the cauldron to do our magic. We create and direct power within our bodies all the time. We still have energetic processes going on through our body up to a certain amount of time after we die. I can direct power just as fine with this, if not better, than I can a wand or a staff. A staff, I love how they look. So tall and different. Everyone goes for the wands because Harry Potter. But Gandalf and Merlin had staffs, but I don't need them. They didn't need them. And another thing, a lot of talk on familiars across the occult and pagan and witchy YouTube and social media. Your dog or your cat isn't necessarily your familiar. You may not have one. A familiar is a spirit that will do your bidding, aid in your magic. But a lot of times your dog is just your dog. As beautiful and silly and calming to you as they may be, in the end, they are just Sir barks a lot that wants you to scratch them behind the ears and throw their ball to the point of driving you crazy, but they're not going to really assist you in your magic. And another topic, doing ancestry work. It can be a long, slow process, and learning your genealogical family tree is a great thing and will help you, but don't let that scare you from doing something from the start. If you have an altar or something that you want to give to your ancestors, go ahead and do it. Your ancestors are not just blood. We have ancestors from the craft and queer witches, non-binary, asexual, the LGBTQ plus group have other ancestors out there. Harvey Milk. I know it's cliche, but Freddie Mercury. He was brilliant. He was flamboyant. And it's a shame he had to live in the way that he did, hiding the love of his life. But that's another topic for a video for another time. It would be an interesting exercise and one worth pursuing, of sitting down and figuring out who you wish to claim as your ancestors as part of your practice if you want to develop an ancestral practice. It's a good effort to undertake. And another topic that gets brought up sometimes is past lives. You may have several past lives, and none of them any more interesting than an armorer or a serf farmer living on land owned by some king. And then there may be another life in the long list of past lives you may have had where you were somebody or something important. Just because you were a high priest or high priestess of a deity doesn't mean that you're any better or worse in this life. We carry an energetic signature from the things that we've done all through our spiritual existence, but we should not let them define who and what we are now. There are things in our ancestral past that we need to heal, and there are also things in our spiritual past that we can work on healing. And both are worthwhile journeys. The pagan community is never stagnant. It changes, it grows, it morphs all the time. You don't need to keep up with everything. Sometimes finding your own little niche or pocket of the community to interact with is a good thing. You don't always need to know what's the newest and hottest. A topic relating to this that gets brought up all the time is TikTok witches. A lot of that is younger practitioners, misguided but eager. Yeah, maybe they do need some mentorship, but until they ask for us to give it, it's not our place to offer it. It's not our place to offer judgment. Sure, if somebody wants to curse the moon or the fae, it's not an idea that I would recommend or be behind. But the moon and the fae can handle themselves. They were here before we were and will be here long after. And it's kind of foolish to think that they need our protection. And if they need it, somehow they will ask. In closing, take the time to listen to yourself. Listen to the world around you. You don't need all of the things, though the things can be beautiful. I apologize, you're hearing our new puppy whining, but all you need is yourself and a finger, and you can direct some of the most intense energies. And don't close off from emotions in your casting if you need to. Witchcraft isn't always love and light. Thank you guys for watching. Until next time, I'll catch you in a live. Have a good day.